We are back, Raptor fans. Now, I gave you guys some time to grieve, to just let all your anger out about this season and how much of a roller coaster ride it was, and all the people thinking, get rid of Lowry, get rid of everybody. I let everybody breathe. Now, I'm not saying Kyle should stay, but I'm just saying to let everybody relax. And now, we'll talk about the season that was and the off-season ahead. What should happen, everything that should get done. Let's see what we can do, all right? So we'll start off with breaking down the season that was the 2016-2017 Toronto Raptors. Now, coming into the season, we were a 56-win team the year before, and we expected high expectations. We expected to get right back to the conference finals, be second place in the Eastern Conference, and find a way to maybe take on the Cleveland Cavaliers and beat them and make it to the NBA championship. That was the expectations and the hope. Now, the first little bit of the season was great. The team was on fire offensively. Lowry was shooting like 40% from three. Ridiculous. Let's fast forward ahead. The Raptors. I'm not sure. Did they take on Chicago after the All-Star break? Okay, you know what? Let's just break down some games. The emotional win against the Chicago Bulls, right? Where we haven't beat them in so many times, and then we finally beat them in overtime. And man, was that game was unbelievable. We are at the All-Star break, or right before the All-Star break. Breaking news, the Raptors acquire Serge Ibaka for Terrence Ross, first-round pick. I forgot what the other piece was to it. And we're all fired up, right? This guy is a dynamite defender, a guy that would be perfect for this team. However, he is a free agent after this season. That's what we were saying at the time. A day or two later, bang, the Raptors acquire P.J. Tucker from the Phoenix Suns, a defensive dynamo player, a gritty, pain-in-the-rear-end type of guy, originally drafted by the Raptors. I'm not going to say hometown guy, but pretty much. And we're all like, this is exciting. We got two really good defensive players to go along with our fairly good offense. And Serge Ibaka ain't no snub offensively. This could be special. Then we go into the All-Star break, just waiting and waiting for this team to finally touch the court all together. Lowry, DeRozan, Ibaka, Carroll, and JV. And we're all like, this is exciting. Kyle Lowry doesn't play the first game against the Celtics, but man, did that team play, the Raptors played so well in that game against Boston at the Air Canada Center. People say that was one of the best games of the season. I tend to agree. That was ridiculous. And then we find out Kyle Lowry, done for the remainder of the regular season with I think it was a wrist surgery. And we're all like, oh no, this is not good. And then the Raptors for a little bit there couldn't really find their feet without Lowry. Their shooting was down a mile. They couldn't shoot the three for their life because their main guy is out. Then Kyle, late in the season, comes back and is like 4 or 5 games left. Bang, we went all 4 or 5 going into the season. Not to mention, I'm not sure if this was Kyle or not, but that amazing game against the Knicks where DeMar knocked down that game winner. That was a beautiful shot. Oh, that game was great. If I missed any great games, guys, let me know in the comments. Then we get into the playoffs. When that Lowry, when we're not playing well down going into the All-Star break, we were about 5th place, and we're all like, this is not good. This is not where we want to be. We ended up getting back to 3rd, but the problem with that, you got to play Cleveland in the second round. But we're okay though. Lowry's back for the playoffs. Our defensively good team should be able to do it. And they've been hot going into the playoffs. Let's get this rolling. We might be able to stop Cleveland because of the way they ended the season. And this is all us talking kind of late in the season, right? Things are looking good. We get into the first round. We obviously lose game 1 because that's just how the Raptors do it. They win game 2. Then they get absolutely slaughtered in game 3. And we're all like, what just happened? Then it was back and forth, but we end up winning in 6, which is nice, but now you got to play Cleveland. It's going to be difficult. And man, did it prove to be difficult because Kyle Lowry goes down injured again. And the Raptors get swept out in 4 games. Other than the last game, they really didn't make any game close. They were pretty much all blowouts. And it sucked. It really did. And we all have that bitter taste in our mouth. And we all did after that. We're all like, let Lowry go. Find somebody to get rid of Carroll. Trade JV. Rebuild. Breathe. We are now here. It's been, I don't know, almost a month now. Excuse me. It's been a few weeks at least since that dreadful game. But now we can look ahead. First up is the draft, but I mean, we have the 23rd overall pick, so it's not really something you really want to go on talking about. If you guys want to let me know in the comments, who do you think the Raptors should draft? Hey, let me know. But let's get to the very important things. Who should the Raptors re-sign? Who should they aim to trade? And who should they target in free agency? There are plenty of things I want to discuss here. First off, let's talk about people that I think should stay. Ibaka, because he seemed to be a very impactful player throughout the whole season and more or less into the playoffs too. 3-point shooting fell down a little bit for him, but overall he was a great player. PJ Tucker, I think he can get back, not for a pretty penny either. So I think he would be a great bench player. As we saw, he was great. But the big question, what did the Raptors do with Kyle Lowry? I mean, a lot of Raptor fans angry and frustrated the way this season went for Kyle. Great start. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Goes into the All-Star break. Shoots in the 3-point contest. Comes back. Then has wrist surgery. Doesn't play a game since that 3-point contest. A lot of Raptor fans saying, so this guy played with a messed up wrist and then has surgery when the games come back on in crunch time. A lot of people frustrated, including myself. I'm like, that's not good to see from your all-star point guard who drives your offense. And then he comes back late in the season. We're like, all right, we need that playoff push from our man. All right, plays in the last little bit of the season, does well, very well. First round of the playoffs, again, like we said, it was a little bit shaky at times, but the team came out on top. Then we get into the Cleveland series. Lowry is done for the playoffs. I don't get it. I don't know what they should do with Kyle Lowry. You know this guy's going to want a big contract. But this season was not a season where you want to give him a big contract afterwards. We have seen now that he's, wouldn't be opposed to going to his hometown team in Philadelphia to play for the Sixers. Now, for a veteran guy having a very young core like the 76ers have, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I don't know what his plans are when it comes to that. I don't know if he even said that. There was also talks, I think it was right after the season, really, that he would be looking out at Western Conference teams. Look, if he's going to sign anywhere but us, I don't want him to be in the East. I just want him to get out. So we don't have to face him, really, because, he'll probably kill us when he comes. But the question I have for you guys, what should they do with Kyle Lowry? Should they re-sign him to a big contract? Should they try and tie him to a pay cut, I guess you want to say? Or should they let him go? That's the big thing. I don't know what's going to happen. My opinion, Masai did say that they need a cultural reset. I tend to agree. This team has been a good team for the past 3-4 years. But we want, as Raptor fans, now that we've seen this good team, we want to see a great team. We want to see them take it to that next step. But with a team right now, can they do it? With Lowry, DeRozan, Carroll, Ibaka, JV, can they do it? I don't know. And with a cultural reset, the way Masai said it, it doesn't look good for Kyle Lowry. So with that being said, let's say Kyle Lowry walks. Let's say we get Ibaka and Tucker back, because we did see some talks about Ibaka saying that, they've been talking and a $20 million was starting price or in the first year or something. There's good news that there's traction there. And I think we all want Serge back because of the presence he is. Not only on the offensive floor, but the defensive floor. He's a great player. That's fine. Also, there are some free agents out there that they could have player options. They could, I don't know the 100% deals about it, but I looked up the free agents for this year, and these are some of the players I saw. And there were some rumblings, well, more or less people wanting. Chris Paul was a really big idea, and you know what? That might not be not be a bad idea. Because Chris Paul is a guy that is he's a pretty good shooter, but he moves the ball really well. And what was a lot of the problem this year for the Raptors? Moving the basketball. We say it a lot of times when the Raptors were losing games, the ball wasn't humming. When they were murdering teams, we're like, the ball was moving. Chris Paul is a guy who can move the ball, can shoot the ball, all around good player as well. However, he is 32 years old, so there's that thing looming in the waters, if you want to say. So that's an option. If you're going for a lesser price, you could say maybe, George Hill is a piece. He had a really good season. We all remember him from the Indiana series was last year. Great player. But is he better than Kyle Lowry, if not the same? I don't know. We want to make upgrades. We don't want to make degrades. If that's even a word. So there's a spot. There's also J.J. Redick from the Clippers. A spot up three-point shooter off the bench. That's definitely a thing that could be used. There's also, some other big names if you want to talk about it. Blake Griffin is an unrestricted free agent. And somebody I think a lot of people want, including myself, but will it happen? We don't know. We don't know until really we start hearing, there's been interest in this or there's been interest in that. But Gordon Hayward from the Utah Jazz, there's been a lot of talks that he probably won't be back to Utah. So, do you think the Raptors will try and jump all over that? I don't know. Should they? It wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't be opposed to it. It would be a great idea for the Raptors, but that is the problem. Are the Raptors willing to go way over the cap to get this team over the top? I don't know. And there's also a free agent that I'm going to question, but I'm not saying I want him. I'm not saying he's coming here. But Rudy Gay, former Toronto Raptor, not for long, but former Toronto Raptor Rudy Gay. A lot of people said, he just didn't mesh well at all with the players. Obviously didn't do anything better in Sacramento. Free agent. I'm not saying I want him or anything, but I'm just saying he's a name out there. What do you guys think? I know it's probably going to be like, oh, hell no, I don't want him back. But I'm just curious if there's any Rudy Gay lovers out there that want him back. But one of the biggest, there's a few other things I want to discuss before we wrap this up. One, what do they do with Jonas Valanciunas? We talked all year long about him not getting as much minutes as he deserves, right? And when he's ripping it up, they sit him on the bench. And it's like, what are you doing? There's also Damari Carroll. We've been talking, again, all season long. He had an awful season. The money that guy's making, if you can find a way to move his contract, again, you might be able to get a good player not in return for his contract, but to sign somebody with that cap gone. I don't know, but it's going to be very tricky to move his contract. Or do you keep JV and fire Dwayne Casey? I think a lot of people will say yes, fire Dwayne Casey. Now, I said all year long that there were times where I'm like, I don't know what Dwayne Casey is thinking with some of these matchups, with some of these, the way guys are playing. Why are you sitting this guy? And I questioned a lot of it, and I think a lot of people questioned him. And then there's also Jerry Stackhouse, who coached the Raptors 905, who won the championship, by the way. Right there in your organization. Now, a lot of people are saying, fire Casey, let Stack take over the team. I don't disagree. I really don't. I think Jerry Stackhouse would be a fantastic coach for this Raptors club. He's an ex-player, fairly recently at least. And he knows how to coach. We've already seen that with the 905. But there's a lot of questions looming with this team. The coaching situation, the free agents, the contracts that gotta go. I mean, there's just so much, and the video's already at 15 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off here, all right? Let me know in the comments, guys. Give me everything you guys feel about free agency, the coaching situation, the draft, if you want to throw it in there, and Lowry, just let me know, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys are pumped for the offseason, because I think it's going to be a very fun one to cover, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below what you guys thought of, what did you guys think of the video? What you guys think of the past season that was? And also let me know all the off-season moves you guys think should be made. Also, on draft day, what do you guys think about doing a live stream? I don't know. It's just an idea I'm throwing in there if you guys are still watching the video at the time. It's just an idea, right? Throwing it out there. If I get good feedback, then we'll maybe figure that out. All right. So we'll talk to you guys. Well, don't know Raptors edition, don't know Leafs edition. We'll talk to you guys Jays edition tomorrow night as the Jays are in Milwaukee taking on the Brewers. 2-game set there as the Jays look to find some traction after their win against Baltimore. All right. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. We'll talk to you guys then.